Hey there, teachers. All right, in this video, I want to talk about an aspect of teaching that I probably get more questions about than almost anything else, and that is CCQs. So, first of all, if this is a new term for you and you're wondering what on earth I just said, first of all, what CCQ stands for and why you've never heard of this before, don't worry because I will get into all of that. But even if you do know about CCQs, chances are you're still a little bit hesitant about using them. Maybe you know that you should use them, but you're not quite sure really how to use them as effectively as possible. Maybe this is something that was drilled into you on your CELTA course or another teacher training course, and you still don't really trust that they're all that useful in the first place. Or maybe CCQs are something that you genuinely want to incorporate more into your lessons, but you feel like you need some guidance in actually creating good ones. So, just quickly before we get started, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for watching. I'm Shannon, and I have been an English language teacher for many, many years now. More importantly, I've been a teacher trainer for many years, and specifically, I worked back to back on full-time CELTA courses for a long time. So when it comes to CCQs, I've seen it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, the completely avoidant. And as a CELTA trainer, I'm happy to give you my best techniques for writing good CCQs, preparing CCQs that are actually going to work with your students, and how and when to use them effectively in your lessons. If this is information that is useful to you and you want more information like this to help you be the best, most confident teacher you can be, definitely check out all the great resources I have for you on my website, TEFLHorizons.com. And go ahead and take just a quick second, subscribe to this video. It's super helpful in supporting me, and it's also going to be really helpful for you because I put out videos just like this with really practical, implementable ideas that you can use in your lessons right away, almost every week. All right, and now let's get to the topic at hand, CCQs. So first of all, what are CCQs? If this is new for you, CCQ stands for Concept Checking Questions. Essentially, these are short, simple questions that we ask our students just to check whether they understand the new grammar or the new vocabulary or the new functional language that we're teaching. So CCQs deal with meaning. They check that students understand the meaning of what we're teaching. And typically we use them most in the clarification stage, in the teaching point of our lesson. Although we can use them anytime really, we want to check that students understand something that we've just said or that we've just taught them. So why do we need CCQs? What's the point of asking these concept checking questions? Because really, if you wanted to know whether or not your students understood what you just said or what you just taught, couldn't you just ask them? Couldn't you just say, do you understand? Or does that make sense? But think about it for a moment. Why might this not be an effective way to check students' understanding? There's a good chance that your students will just kind of nod and smile. They might just stare at you blankly. You'll hear crickets. And maybe you'll have some students who didn't really understand, but nobody wants to be that one person to admit that they need you to explain everything all over again. Or on the other hand, you might have students who think they did understand, but the problem is that there's no proof, right? You can ask, do you understand? They say yes, but there's no way to really know, to really prove for either of you that they actually did understand and that they're not confused about something without realizing it. So CCQs, concept checking questions, are a much more specific, effective way to actually get confirmation that students really do understand. We can even ask a CCQ about a particular aspect of the new language that helps to check nuances or kind of root out potential areas of confusion. So we can really tackle like the potentially tricky parts of new grammar or new vocab or functional language by using really focused CCQs. So now that we're hopefully more clear on what concept checking questions are, I want to share a little bit of advice on creating CCQs. And in this video, let's focus specifically on creating CCQs for grammar, since this tends to be a little bit less straightforward than CCQs for vocabulary. Grammar, I think, is where teachers often feel overwhelmed because it's not just an individual word. So, in order to create a good CCQ, an effective CCQ, first consider the grammar that you're teaching. And my advice would be to find or to write example sentences using that grammar. And those example sentences should all come from the same context. So maybe they're all in the same text or the same dialogue, some sort of authentic situation where those sentences occur. And a key here is that students should first have a chance to digest just that content, right? To read the text, to listen to the dialogue, whatever it is, and think about the situation. They should have some reading or listening gist task, right? Main idea task that helps them understand the situation first before you ask them to analyze the grammar. So before you jump in and start asking CCQs about the grammar, give them some kind of task that lets them digest the content, that lets them get the main idea of that text or that dialogue or whatever it is. Then we can get into the grammar. Okay, so once we get into the grammar, in your planning, before you teach the lesson, in your planning process, once you have some example sentences, take one of those example sentences and try to break it down into its most basic elements of meaning. So use bullet points and try to use the simplest, most basic language possible. Let's take this sentence as an example, and I'll show you how this process works. So imagine my example sentence is, he used to smoke, but he quit. So as you can probably guess here, the grammar that I'm teaching is used to, right? So I'm going to take this sentence using the context of this person smoking but quitting, and I'm going to try to break it down into the most basic elements of meaning that I can using those bullet points. So what does this really mean? He used to smoke, but he quit. Okay. He did it in the past, right? He smoked in the past. He doesn't smoke now. And if I say he used to smoke, he probably didn't just smoke 1 or 2 cigarettes. He smoked often. He did this regularly in the past. So at this point, if you're having trouble coming up with more than one bullet point, you might just need to break it down even further, right? Or try to simplify those basic elements of meaning even more. So for example, if you said something to the effect of, he used to smoke. Okay, this is something that he often did in the past, but not anymore, right? You could you could separate that into a couple of different pieces of information. So break it down even further and remember to be as simple as possible. So instead of not anymore, right? What does not anymore really mean? It means something you did in the past, but you don't do now. It might also at this point help to consider why you're using this particular grammar over other, maybe similar grammatical structures. So, how does the sentence become different, for example, if you say, he smoked versus he used to smoke? They could mean exactly the same thing, but just he smoked, if we change the context a little bit, right? What's that smell? Oh, he just smoked. It could mean just once or 2 times. I'm talking about a single action in the past versus he used to smoke really implies that habitual past action. So in planning this grammar lesson, using that trick of trying to compare 2 different structures in slightly different contexts can help me kind of figure out what aspects of the grammar, what aspects of the meaning I really need to highlight. And I can be sure to add those bullet points to my analysis. Let's do one more example. Here's a sentence. I'm meeting Jennifer for lunch tomorrow. So let's use that same technique. We're going to take this sentence and try to break it into the most simple, basic elements of meaning in bullet points. So what does this really mean? I'm meeting. Well, it's in the future. I know that for sure. And now if I want to go deeper and I'm having trouble, I'm going to use that technique of replacing I'm meeting with a similar but different grammatical structure and see how they compare. So how is it different to say I'm meeting Jennifer for lunch tomorrow versus I might meet Jennifer for lunch, or I think I'll meet Jennifer for lunch tomorrow, or I'll meet Jennifer for lunch tomorrow if I have time. So how does that change things? Why is it that I'm using I'm meeting? Well, if I use I'm meeting as opposed to I might meet, or I think I'll meet, or I'll meet her if, I'm meeting implies that it's a set plan. It's not just an idea. It's not just a maybe. It's a set plan. And so when I say a set plan, can I break that down even further? What does it mean to have a set plan? Well, probably it means that Jennifer and I already agreed. We already agreed on a time to meet. We already agreed on a place. I probably made a reservation. It's probably in my calendar. So obviously not all of those exact details need to be true in order for this grammar to work. But by doing this, I can help the students understand why I'm using this grammar, right? For something that I have definitely arranged as opposed to something I'm just thinking about doing in the future. So now that I have my bullet points, all I really need to do to create effective CCQs is to just take each statement in my bullet points and change it into a question. And now you have great targeted CCQs. And now that I have my CCQs, how do I put them into practice and use them as effectively as I can during my lesson? Well, first of all, remember that your students should be able to see the example sentences as you're asking the CCQs. So he used to smoke, but he quit. I should have this on my slide or on the board so that students can look at it as I'm asking them my concept checking questions. Did he smoke in the past? And then I can let them answer. Yes. Does he smoke now? No. And remember, you can draw attention to aspects of the sentence to confirm the answers to your CCQs. So does he smoke now? No. He quit, right? We can see it right there. Did he smoke just 1 or 2 times in the past? Or did he smoke often in the past, regularly? He probably smoked regularly in the past. Let's repeat the process with this example. I'm meeting Jennifer for lunch tomorrow. Is our lunch in the past, the present, or the future? In the future, tomorrow, we can see that in the sentence. Is this a possible plan or a definite plan? A definite plan. And did I already agree with Jennifer to meet for lunch? Probably. Is it in my calendar? Yes, probably. So by ensuring that students can see the example sentence as you're asking the CCQ, they're able to take full advantage of all the information they have, right? The additional content in the sentence to get the answers to those CCQs correct. And the whole point of them getting the answers correct is to prove, to show that they are truly understanding what the grammar means and how it is used. Here are a couple of additional tips for creating and using CCQs effectively. So number 1 is to avoid using the grammar itself in the CCQ. For example, he used to smoke. Is this something he used to do? Or did he used to smoke? These are not effective CCQs because I'm just repeating the same target grammar in the checking question. So if the students don't understand used to in the original sentence, they're not going to understand what it means in the CCQ. Instead, don't use the target grammar in the actual CCQ. You're using the process that I just walked you through of taking that example sentence and using bullet points to break it down into its simplest, most basic elements of meaning. Tip number 2 is to make sure your CCQs ask about the grammar in the sentence, not the content of the sentence. For example, I'm meeting Jennifer tomorrow. When am I meeting Jennifer? This is not an effective CCQ for our target grammar, which is I'm meeting, I'm doing something, using the present continuous to talk about a future plan. When am I meeting Jennifer? Tomorrow. That's right there in the sentence. That doesn't check anything about the grammar. It just checks a random detail in the sentence. Tip number 3, the answers to your CCQs don't have to be yes or no questions, although they can be. But the key is that the answers should be short and simple, and they should be specific. So what does used to mean? This is not an effective CCQ because you're asking students to give a full, long explanation. Do not ask students to just explain the grammatical structure as your CCQ. It needs to be much more targeted and much more specific, and that's what you're going to achieve using those bullet points, that process that I showed you. Tip number 4, if students get your CCQs wrong, especially at first, or they're hesitant to answer at first, that's okay. So using CCQs is kind of like checking one last time to make sure you locked your door before you walk away and leave your house. If you check and you notice that you didn't actually lock it, it's not the end of the world, right? It doesn't mean everything's ruined and oh my God, this is a horrible situation. It just means, oh, perfect. Good thing I checked. Now I can quickly correct the situation. So that's the whole point. It's just a quick check so that if it's not clear, now you know and you can make it clear. So students not getting your CCQs correct probably just means that those CCQs are doing their job. They're checking and you're getting valuable information that you can now use to course correct. And tip number 5 is that CCQs can take a little bit of time for your students to get used to, especially when you first start using them. So when you first start introducing CCQs into your teaching, don't panic if they don't go over super well right away. Sometimes if students aren't used to these, and especially with lower level students, it can take them a moment to realize that this is an exercise for their benefit and that it's meant to be interactive. So when you ask that first CCQ, you might get a reaction like, what? Why are you asking me? You're the teacher. Or you might sort of get like stares and crickets, like, what? Why are you asking me something? If your students aren't used to you asking for their feedback or introducing questions into your teaching, if you've had a habit of being a little bit teacher fronted or lectury in the past, right? If this is new for them, then it might take a little time for them to figure out that you're switching your technique a bit. So if it's necessary, if it's helpful, make this into kind of a game. Make it fun. You can say something like, okay, now let's just check to make sure we understand before you ask the CCQ so that there's a signal there. I'm going to ask you some questions now and I want you to answer them. And students understand the purpose, right? You're not trying to grill them or catch them out. You're just making sure for you and for them that everything's clear. And with lower level students, sometimes when you first ask a CCQ, they may not even realize that you're asking them a question that they're meant to answer. I see this all the time with my teachers that I train. Sometimes the way they word the CCQ, even their intonation, their body language is so subtle that it kind of just blends into the clarification stage, and the students don't realize that they missed a question they were supposed to answer. So if this is the case for you, if you've asked a CCQ and you're getting blank stares, ask again and make it very clear with your voice, with your body language, with your wording that you're asking a question and you expect an answer. All right, if you found this helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe and let me know in the comments, how do you feel now about CCQs? Better than you did before? Are they something you feel like you still need more practice with? Was this something completely new for you that you're excited to introduce into your own lessons? I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next video.